Yo, what's the deal, Panther fans? It's your boy, the Professor, and this is the C3 Podcast. It must be Tuesday night, and it is 10 o'clock, and we're talking Panthers, and it is a great night to talk football. We've got a great show planned. The football schedule's out, but most excitedly, I'm here, or most importantly, I'm here with great company. My brother from a Puerto Rican mother. That freaking Puerto Rican. What's up, Joe Riolano?
Tony, what an exciting show we have in store tonight. It has been quite a day for you, for me, as well as the rest of the NFL with the revealing of the schedule, actual dates. There's some really interesting stuff we've got to cover tonight. I'm happy to be here.
Well, I'm glad to have you here, and I'm glad you're that excited, brother. We also have a special guest with us, reporting live from he brings you the Panthers stuff just straight from the horse's mouth. We got Chris Jenkins back again. Chris Jenkins from Charlotte Vibe. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me, and I hope we'll be doing this more regularly this season, guys.
Oh, man, you are welcome.
Right
Anytime, man. We always have a blast. Joe, I think you got some special news to break, family news.
I do. I want to take a minute and wish my son Eric a very happy birthday. He turns 9 today, or he turned 9 today. It was a good day for him. He doesn't know it because he was only 5 months old when I began treatments for cancer. But it was actually because of him that I'm here today. While I was in the hospital undergoing radiation and chemotherapy, it was a thought of needing to be a father to him that got me through the darkest of days. And I just want you to know, Rock, that's the nickname he picked for himself, that I love you and that I thank God for you every day.
Well, we thank God for you as well, Joey, and for Rock. Happy birthday, buddy. Thanks for keeping our boy around.
Really good shout out there, Joe.
I know. It's man, talking about bringing us to a special place for the C3 podcast, and we got a special show, Joey. It's episode 15.12, schedule released and workouts begin. We're going to be talking about the anticipated schedule. We want to get your thoughts and opinions. We're going to talk and highlight some of the Panther fan reactions and things. We want to get Chris Jenkins to weigh in on the schedule as well and give us a little insight into the off-season voluntary workouts. It's kind of hard for me to even just wrap my head around that whole concept, off-season voluntary workouts, what that really means. So we'll kind of find that out. But before we jump into the show, guys, I just want to remind everybody to be sure to follow us on Twitter, @cat_chronicles. You can like our page, Carolina Cat Chronicles, on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, got a big audience tonight, go ahead and hit the sub up button. And so you can share our podcast with all your Panther friends. But be sure, if you can't watch the whole show, to check us out on iTunes or Stitcher. And while you're there, to give us a strong rating. It will help us grow. And you can find all that information on the website. Also, guys, I want to say something first is Charlotte Vibe, really important kind of insight into Charlotte. Can you tell everybody about the website just a little bit, remind them, and go ahead and tell them how they can find it before we get all wrapped up into the show?
Absolutely. CharlotteVibe.com. We aim to keep the community in tune with what's going on, news and entertainment-wise, and certainly our biggest fan of being sports, Carolina Panthers and Charlotte Hornets. So you can check us out on the website, CharlotteVibe.com, and all the social media outlets of Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all easily found with Charlotte Vibe.
You got to check it out, folks. What was it where you were shooting something? I was about to go and bring a six-pack of beer and hang out. What was it, like a fashion show? Or what was it that this was probably about 2 months ago, a month and a half ago?
Well, I know a week or two ago we did behind the scenes with the honeybees. That would have been nice for you.
I saw that one. I straight saw that. Was that the picture where they were like leaving, like they were in the, they like on the stairwell or something? Oh,
all black, yeah. I gotta let you know what's going on behind the scenes. It's only right, you know.
Oh, God, it was great. But there was something probably, this was at least 2 months ago. You guys were doing a shoot in your studio.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What was that again?
Just work, man. You know.
Just
That won't
work.
just work. I was about to drive to Charlotte and bring a cooler full of beer and just hang out with my boy. I was
We also
excited.
have a photography studio. That's my other thing is doing photography. So
Oh,
every
okay.
now and then we show you what we do in the studio.
Well, man, well, thank you. That made my afternoon. I ain't gonna lie. Joey, we're gonna talk about the schedule. We're gonna get into some things that are hot. But you had something that's been on your mind this week.
There has been something on my mind this week. I know you are a big fan of the receiver from Missouri,
This
Dorial
is
Green.
hypothetically. This is hypothetically, right?
Right, right. It's a hypothetical. I know you were kind of like liking his physical traits, and it got me thinking, we'll never touch this guy because of his, I don't want to say checkered past. I think that's an overstatement, but because he's had some issues in the past.
What is it, Green Beckham?
Yeah, Green Beckham, I believe that's who it is. It got me thinking, if all things being the same, and the 2010 draft, I think is when Cam came out. If he was coming out again in this year's draft and we had the number one pick, after going through the whole Hardy incident and whatnot, I was wondering if they would pull the trigger on Cam if he had had the national championship season, the Heisman Trophy season, had done all the same things, would he still be the number one pick for us?
2011, and I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes because we needed a quarterback so bad, and I think this is I'm so tired of Cam haters. Look, and I know you guys think that I'm overcompensating with my boyfriend crush on Cam Newton. But the idea that I've been talking a lot about this week at work with some other things and the psychology behind this. What I think psychologists refer to this as the attribution theory. And that is that you kind of create the reality you want. If you want a guy to be a bad guy, you make him a bad guy. If you want him to be a good guy, you make him to be a good guy. So, for instance, if you're a partier and you like to drink beer, you could either be, hey, that's a guy that is a fun guy that likes to drink beer, or somebody can think of you as that's a guy with a problem, right? And what they will do is shape their reality and their perception behind it. So I think so many people have done that with Cam Newton. They want him to be a bad guy. They want him to be a jerk. They want to dislike him. Wow, think of what the media is doing for Jameis Winston, and they want to like him. The charges are so much more serious, and this is going to get overlooked. He's going to be drafted without consequence, right? So I'm going to like to say that, hey, the kid, what did he really do? He stole a kid's laptop that was potentially left alone in the library, and then when they found out it was him that did it, he threw it out the window trying to get rid of the evidence. Is that really that bad on the scale of what we're talking about? The DGB guy kicked a girl down the stairs, and Jameis Winston, a far more checkered past than people want to credit it for. What do you think about this, Chris? Because you don't question my Cam love,
You
my
know,
Cam crush.
right now, I'm just in all of the profoundness in which you just spoke of there. So that was very eloquent.
Thank you.
But I think that we would have done the same thing with Cam today that we did way back then, because the quarterback position, as you're saying, is such an important role, such a thing that you build a team around, that you're always going to ignore some things about a guy. Nobody in this league is picture perfect. So I think we would have done the same thing.
I lean the other way. I think because of the disappointment, I guess, that uh, JR felt when the whole Hardy thing went down, that he would think it too much of a risk. You know, he's so paranoid now about uh, picking the right kind of guys with the whole Fred Lane and Ray Caruth history as well. Um, I tend to think that we would, I don't know who we would pick, God forbid. But I don't think.
The world would have been better according to Charlie Casserole that we would have gotten Blaine Gabbert.
Exactly. What a jerk.
Gabbert or whatever. God, I hate that dude.
Yeah, that's just what it was just something that came across my mind, you know, knowing how important character has become for the Panthers.
I think that's all overblown too. I think that we got kind of caught up in the storm that was the NFL PR debacle that was this past season. And you know what is that, look, I think Greg Hardy would have been gone no matter what. Probably we couldn't afford to pay him anyway. I don't think we had kept him around. Certainly this thing goes down, he would have been gone no matter what. But I think that this was escalated too far just because I think that was kind of a scapegoat story because it got such a terrible time and place. But I think, hey, that person out, you know, we're just tired of him. But let's get to something a little bit more. That is an interesting discussion. And what it tells you this is that you're going to like who you like and you're going to who you're going to dislike. And you're going to find every reason to believe that Jameis Winston is a lock if you like him, or he's got bad character if you dislike him. So, but now let's go to our newest segment of What's Hot on C3.
Good day, mate. Let's put another shrimp on the barbie.
No, I'm just getting warmed up. Here's Charlie facing the fire, and there's George hiding in Big Daddy's pocket.
Dylan and Dylan, because I spit hot fire.
Take a flamethrower to this place!
What's Hot on C3. That's right. It's the time where we look around Carolina Panther Nation and talk about what's hot, what's going down on the website. And the hottest talk, guys, is the NFL schedule. Released about 8 o'clock this evening. But I swear it was released a lot earlier since my Twitter feed and the radio was blowing up about the Carolina Panthers are playing on Thanksgiving, the Patriots got an easy schedule, this and that, this and that. So, Joey, historic Turkey Day game in Dallas against America's team on America's Day. What do you think about this?
I don't know. I'm so used to watching the Cowboys, but I never would have guessed that they would have put the Panthers as an opponent. I'm a little concerned, I guess, because I was hoping we'd play Dallas earlier in the year and Hardy would be on suspension so we wouldn't have to face him. I'll be perfectly honest with you in that regard. I guess it's kind of good. You know, we'll have a vested interest on Thanksgiving Day and making sure you're watching the game. Whereas, you know, since Panthers never played before, you watched the game, but really didn't have no dog in the fight, so to speak. But now it's going to be considerably different. And I am concerned about how well Greg Hardy may play against us.
We're going to get more into the schedule, deeper into the schedule. Well, let's keep talking about this Thanksgiving Day game. How important or how good is this for the organization, Chris?
I don't think they're going to be looking at it as a good thing. I'm thinking everybody and managers like, you know, oh crap, we really wanted to get this over with and not have all the media attention around it. But how much bigger can it be than a Thanksgiving Day game to have all this attention brought once again back to the Greg Hardy situation? So I don't think anyone at the organization is happy about it. I know me as a lone reporter is not happy about the work I'm going to have to do now on Thanksgiving Day, watching the game and doing all my work I got to do on game day. So I think it's cool that they're getting a lot of prime time, but I don't feel like the organization is going to be doing any dance about this one.
You know, that's interesting because my first thought was this is a great thing because of the publicity that of the spotlight that we get on Thanksgiving. But then once again, you got to think, the Greg Hardy part, which escaped me because, look, I've gotten to the point I'm just sick of talking about him, right? I really am tired of it, but you're right. Once again, that's going to dominate the storyline. And I got to say this. I'm eating my Thanksgiving lunch, dinner, with no spoon, brother.
Yeah.
I get the sign now.
Yeah, you can take that to the bank. You know, I think too, but here's a couple of things is that it would be wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and put this out to @Overlord. What's his tag? @Overlord something?
Overlord Kraken, is it?
Yeah. @Overlord Kraken or whatever. Hey, why don't you just go ahead and lay down for us and just make up like 7 million of that 13. We can just do it for you. Just lay down on it. I'm hoping though that what he does is shrink a little bit. You know, I mean, sometimes what he does is that he feasts or famine. That's the type of player he is. He's going to come out and get 4 sacks, or he's going to not. And I'm hoping that it's a not. I hope he's a little sluggish. Somebody put a little extra. What is it? Tryptophan, Joe? That's in turkey.
Yeah, tryptophan.
Make him sleepy. That's the stuff that's in turkey that makes you sleepy. All right. So after this, you get the Turkey Day game, but we also have 2 other primetime games. I'm going to count the Turkey Day game as a primetime game, even though it's not on a Monday or a Thursday or Sunday night game. But we got a Sunday night game against the Eagles, and then followed the very next week with a Monday night game against the Colts. How about this? This is 2 years in a row, 3 primetime games, and I got to go back and look to 2013. We had a Monday night against the Patriots that year. I felt like we had some spotlight then. What do you guys think about this? Eagles, then Colts, then followed by the Packers, I think.
Yeah, you're right on that schedule. So what I look at this schedule and think is that the NFL also believes that the Panthers are going to continue to be on the rise of being some team that nationally people want to see. We've had the back-to-back NFC South. We haven't lost that many players this offseason. So we have every bit of right as fans to feel pretty optimistic about all these games coming up and having some pretty good primetime games.
Joey, how do you like the primetime? I always get nervous when I see the primetime games because we typically don't play that well, and everybody's gonna say this is they're gonna be like, oh, well, you remember we beat the Patriots Monday night, but we barely beat them on a flag pickup as well, at the end. So I mean, our track record on the primetime in the nightlight is not very good. Are you excited about Eagles, Colts, back-to-back primetime, followed by the Packers? By the way, listen to the 4-game stretch, Joe, that this starts out with. At Seahawks, then Eagles at home, Colts at home, Packers at home. 3 home games in a row, but boy, those are brutal 4-game stretch. I think we lost Joey.
We lost Joe?
We lost Joe. Chris, what do you think about that stretch? The Seahawks, Eagles, Colts, and Packers.
That is a very, very brutal stretch. The Eagles could be hit or miss this year, but certainly the Colts are strong with luck, and the Packers are going to be strong, and Seattle is going to be super strong. So there's a chance there that we could be in some trouble come the middle part of the season, but it's also a chance to grow some wings,
Yeah. I mean, I think you get forged by fire. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. We had a tough stretch in the middle last year, and we didn't weather it too well. Let's go ahead and be honest about that. But I think this is what Dan Hansis from NFL.com says about the Panthers schedule, and they give the quick write-ups as soon as it comes out. After a highly manageable first 4 games, Jacksonville, Houston, New Orleans, Tampa Bay, We get an early bye week in week 5. They come back to a war of attrition, he says. Seattle, Eagles, Colts, Packers. If Carolina isn't careful, he says, they could be buried at the midseason. Then again, it didn't stop them last season. So I think that, this is pretty much what we've been saying about this. But, Chris, here's some kind of light at the end of the tunnel right here, or maybe some good news, is that the back end of the schedule gives us some breathing room. It's a long time from the bye. What we got is the Titans, the Redskins, Cowboys, Saints, Falcons twice in the last 4 weeks, Giants, Buccaneers. So those are some teams, I think. Titans, Redskins, I think you feel good about them. The Giants, we don't really know what to get out of the Giants, what to expect out of the Giants. What sticks out to me here, Chris, is it's a little scary not getting a taste of the Falcons until week 14.
You noticed that as well, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that's a late time to see how you match up against them, because I think that they're probably going to be, maybe the Saints are going to be better than we give them credit for. Mm-hmm. Maybe that last year and this we've attributed them falling apart too much. But I got to see something better out of them and their defense, and really some chemistry on offense before I'm tremendously worried about them. The Falcons, to me, seem to have some really good pieces if they can stay healthy.
Yeah, I agree.
This is strange to me.
Well, I like to look at it from another perspective. I kind of tried to ask the guys yesterday about the culture changing at the Panthers, and I don't mean culture as in it's a bad organization at all, but I'm just talking about making that turn into being a winning organization. We win back to back. We win more than we lose each season. And if they are going to make that transition into a winning culture, this is a winning team, then you're going to have to deal with seasons in the future where you're going to have tough games, 3 or 4 tough games in a row. And you got to be able to be happy about those, win most of them, and be prepared to make a deep run in the playoffs. We don't want to focus too much on, oh, man, this is going to be hard. I mean, if you're trying to win a Super Bowl, you want to be prepared. You want to be challenged, and you want to feel like you're the best.
I agree. I think that first you got to play the best competition to be the best that you can be. I don't think we're a team that really can have a shot at making a Super Bowl run by playing a terrible schedule. I just don't feel like all of a sudden when you get to the playoffs that you would be a stronger team just because you made it. I think you want to make it there. I think the good news about this, though, is that while we play this tough schedule in the middle, what you get is an opportunity towards the end. And let me look at the schedule again. I'm going to pull it up here on the screen. What we get is Saints week 13, Falcons. We get 1, 2, 3, 4 division games in the last 7 weeks. We also get straight from week 11 to week 17, we get all NFC games. So I think what this does for us, Chris, is this gives us an opportunity to decide our own fate. And unlike last season where we had to wait for other teams and hope to back into the playoffs, we can win into the playoffs by beating teams in our division, and if not in the division, in the conference to up our standings in the wild card race.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the schedule's fine. I'm looking forward to it.
There's just to put this out right here, though, last year's schedule was no cupcake schedule either. We played the Lions, the Steelers, the Ravens, the Bears, the Bengals, and the Packers, and the Seahawks all in a row.
Yeah, I agree.
So, that was tough.
I think the Rican's back.
Yeah. Yes, the freaking Puerto Rican is back. What is up, my man? Comcast has got your ice up pick of the week.
Exactly right. You nailed it.
I'm gonna have to go with you on that because they're gonna merged with Time Warner, and I'm just going to tell you they are the worst ever, ever, ever.
Is that who you got in Charlotte, Time Warner?
Time Warner in Charlotte, yes, sir.
Oh, man. You know what? I think everybody's internet service provider is always the worst. I swear, I will, because I pay out the wazoo for the internet, and I swear I don't get my 75 meg download. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Joey, we were getting into the schedule. We were talking about it. We're not going to rehash too much what we've already talked about. Kind of that tough middle stretch. Compared to last year, Joey, easier or tougher?
If I recall, we had a tough stretch last year.
Very.
Yeah, there was a tough stretch. So I would say it's comparable to last year. I don't know, maybe a little bit easier playing Jacksonville. If Redskins, if Tampa's as bad as they were last year, I can't see that happening. But they're going to be only a little bit improved, I think. So maybe it is a little easier.
Okay, let's talk about something that we can't forecast really what's going to happen. You got to play a schedule. Who cares, right? But one thing, though, is what do you think about the Week 5 bye? Is that something that you guys would have liked to seen at a different part? Like, while we can't control the teams we play, and maybe not even the order, could the NFL have hooked us up and given us a bye in Week 7 to break up somebody, Week 8 to break up that stretch? Chris, you know the players. Would they rather have the bye at a different time?
Yeah, they will. You can pull the truth out of a few guys over there, and they'll certainly tell you that they like to buy later on in the week. I'm sorry, later on in the season. Just gives you a chance to heal and get stronger for the second half and tougher part of the season. Having it early on doesn't give you that same luxury.
I have been behind on the Twitter feed. We've got a couple of people tweeting in. Check this out. Susan says revenge on the Eagles in the prime time will be sweet. I agree with that. We add that. And also, she is also tired about hearing about Hardy. So I think the NFL, ironically, Susan, I hate to do this to you. I'm going to talk about it for a moment. The NFL are a bunch of jackasses because they did this. They tried to avoid all the PR with the Shield, but then they put the Dallas Cowboys game on Thanksgiving because they know that storyline has gotten old enough to where they don't get the same hits because of what actually Hardy did, but just because it will create a lot of hype. Am I being... what do they call it when you have a conspiratorial here?
No, you're not. No, you're not. Yeah, I mean they're not dumb guys. I mean it's a billions and billions of dollar league, and so certain things don't happen by accident. I agree with you there.
Chris, let's go ahead and jump into the next part, and we want to know about you. One thing that was nice is I watch your YouTube channel, I follow your Twitter feed closely, and I've gotten to see a lot of depressing Charlotte Hornets talk. I'm not a super basketball guy. I'm not a basketball guy, and it's not because I don't like basketball, because, look, I got 3 kids, I got a full-time job, I do this labor of love on the side that has become all-consuming. I got a lot of stuff going on. I follow the Panthers like an absurd amount, an unhealthy amount. So, like, I don't need to get invested in too much more. But can't help but notice the Charlotte Hornets talk. Hasn't been happy. I saw you were happy to be back at the stadium covering the Carolina Panthers. Monday, off-season voluntary workouts began. What is this thing that they call voluntary off-season workouts?
You know, a few of us guys said, I don't know what the big deal about this is. All these guys are now doing is just working out together in the weight room.
Yeah, they're just going to the gym.
Which a lot of the guys did anyway, but now they can do it in an organized manner. So I think it's more just how popular the NFL is growing, that every time there's a milestone of something new, that there's a lot of attention. And, that's great for the sport, but really significance in terms of being able to judge where this team's going to go, what's happening, it's really nothing new.
Is
Just
this
organized weightlifting.
is this simply OTAs? Organized team
Yeah, it's
activities?
OTAs, but but it's even at a lesser degree because you're not having any contact. You're not going out on the field at all. You're just having meetings and
You
looking
don't
at
even
film with
have to
guys,
be there.
working out.
You don't have to be there. Speaking of, who wasn't there of note?
There wasn't any names that stuck out that weren't there. I can tell you that something that the players do like about this part of the season is that with all the new guys, they actually get to spend time to get to know those guys and get to hang out with them. Luke Kuechly just loves football, and he talked about it being so much like coming back to school.
Mm-hmm.
But he did mention that one of the better things with the new guys like Charles Tillman and the other acquisitions, that this is a good time to really get to know your teammates as people and friends, which helps build chemistry with the team. So that's kind of a good thing out of it.
We have been trying
You might
to
see
get
them hanging around town together having a beer.
Yeah. Well, I wish we're not in Charlotte. We operate. We bring you the outside perspective, so we lean on you for the insider info in Charlotte. But we've been trying to get to know these guys. We have been able to speak with Jason Trustnick in the last couple of weeks, as well as Teddy Williams, the fastest man on the planet, by the way.
Always ready, Teddy.
Always ready, Teddy. Chris, we know you're kind of fast, or at least you tell us this.
I think I'm starting to lose it finally. I'm about to hit 40, and I think it's going to seep on out of me.
Oh, man, I thought 30 was the number, but you know that we talked with Teddy Williams, and he told us that when he was a junior in college, he ran the 100-meter dash in 9.09 seconds. And,
no way.
No, it was 9.90 seconds.
9.90 seconds.
Yeah.
And he didn't just tell us this. It's a recorded fact. And, by the way, this was a world-class speed for 4 months. And, Joey, who was the guy? I don't remember. I've never heard of this guy that was second behind him at the time in the 100-meter dash.
Oh, yeah. I think his name was Lightning Bolt.
Something like that.
Usain Bolt.
Usain Bolt.
Oh,
who is that guy? Fastest guy, Teddy Williams. We have world class, fastest guy on the planet. So we got to know him. We've been interested in that. Tell me this. You guys are all excited to be at the field and all this. Why is the grass all so busted? All these billions of dollars, millions of dollars. The grass looks worse than my backyard.
You notice the spotty grass or the sand?
It was awful.
Yeah, what is about that? I mean, is this, to me, this is what I see about this, is I want to call up Jerry and say, look.
It's just not time yet.
Oh, don't give me that. What I'm going to say is that they're going to try to bring this back to golf course grass too quickly, and that actually costs more dollars, which makes my ticket prices go up. Why don't you just manage a little better in off-season, brother? Tell those guys, put a little plastic down when the dudes are walking on it. On a rainy day, don't walk on the bare spots.
Well,
What do they, path on? You're a golf player. What do they say when it rains?
Well, I think it's cart path only or something like that.
Yeah.
That's right. That's what we need at the stadium.
I have full faith that they'll have a new slab of grass out there. But, right now they're focusing on some renovations on the luxury suites. And, those guys can get the grass looking green pretty quick. We got, 5 months before the season starts? I think we're okay.
Yeah, but you know what's not okay is these luxury renovations, and then I'm going to be paying out the wazoo, Joey, to sit, like, where probably right about 100 feet below Cam Newton's apartment.
Exactly.
Well, how else are we going to pay for Cam?
That's true.
Well, we haven't yet. So we're prepaying for Cam at this point. Okay. Any guys stick out personalities that were, other than Luke Kuechly, that were excited to be there?
Well, like what Thomas Davis had to say, Thomas went first, and it was ironic that he went first and he had such a strong leading message for speaking with the media. Yeah, a few things that he talked about was last season, I distinctly remember at the fan game preseason that he talked to the media and he predicted that they were going to win the NFC South again. And so this, well, the other day he mentioned that I can guarantee you that we're not going to have a long losing streak like we had last year, which was great to hear. And he just also mentioned that he's excited that they re-signed a lot of their own players. Re-signed a lot of your own guys, you have a lot of continuity. Greg Olson spoke about having the rookies now going into their second year and having expectations for those guys be higher because of that second year and because they did so well in their rookie year. So the guys were really positive. Nobody's, of course, more enthused than Luke, but many of the guys are positive about the fact that they have a lot of people returning, and you heard the word continuity mentioned more than once.
Joey, you know what I think about that?
That's good news, people.
Exactly.
Good news, people. Good news, people.
You couldn't find Joe's music, but you find one on me.
There you go.
I got my own sound clips back here. Don't worry. That was old Barry tuning in. He likes some football.
I agree.
That was pretty good.
I heard a message today that only reinforced that statement, Chris. I was watching NFL Network, and they were talking to Joe Thomas from the Browns. He's a gardener in his spare time, which is cool. But anyway, he said the most important thing.
Talk about the grass.
Yeah,
Exactly.
back to the grass.
Maybe we need to contract him out. He said the most important thing in an organization is stability and continuity, and that's the one thing I think that is going to keep us on top of the division this year, because every other team in the division has had some sort of shake-up or a breakup. Something has changed. Coaching staff on player personnel transitions, that kind of thing. Because we're the most stable organization in the NFC South is why I think we'll win again.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think that, it's so...
on the grass.
All right.
The groundskeeper did come out to me while I was recording and look at me kind of strange, and I said, "Hey, am I all right?" He said, "All right, as long as you don't go over there where the sand spots are."
Now we're worried about it. All right, guys. We're gonna jump on. I think that continuity is a big deal. I think that it's important that Dave Gettleman got faith in Ron Rivera 2 seasons ago, because that could have easily gone a different way, maybe. I think that what we know is that Ron Rivera is a very loyal type head coach to his people, to his players, maybe to a fault at certain times. But I think that you're right, Joey. I think that bringing that continuity, just changing things dramatically and drastically, all that does is try to appease podcasters like us.
Yes.
Temporarily, and then you got to play the long game. We're all about the long game, and I think that's a good idea. Joey, we're going to jump into the next segment, but before we do, I hear that sometimes it's awesome to travel on the road to go see Panther games on the road with a bunch of other Panther fans. How would you do this, Joey, if you were going to try it?
Well, one stadium I've always wanted to check out and go see is Jacksonville Stadium. I've always wanted to go down there and see a Jags game. Well, this is the year to do it. There's a group called Roaring Riot. You can go there at roaringriot.com, and they will pay for your ticket. They will pay for your hotel accommodations. They will set you up with a tailgating prior to the game. They have booked all these swimming pools. I think there's 2 pools and cabanas that they've booked. 400 or so people are going to this Jacksonville game this year, and it is the first game of the year, so the weather's going to be perfect for it. Absolutely perfect. So if you're interested in that game or going maybe to see the Titans play or even the Dirty Birds down in Atlanta, go to roaringriot.com. Become a member, sign up. They'll make sure all your needs are met. You get down there, you'll have everything squared away.
Sounds great. Joey, also, I want to do this. I want to go on the road, and I cannot think of a better way than to go with roaringriot.com and go with 200 fans and take over a stadium. If you don't take over sunny Jacksonville, let's go ahead and take over stanky Atlanta. Time to do that one. Way on. Joey, I also heard, well, actually, you know what? We'll put the Amazon plug in later. I know that Chris has got to run. Whenever you got to run, just go ahead and let me know, Chris. But we've got one segment that we like to play. It's a little game that we call Finish That Thought.
Funny. Sometimes I just don't get people. Human beings are so weird. Who talks in front of a camera by themselves for fun? We thought that was a good idea. These ideas, some of these things that you use every day. Who's the guy or a girl that was like,
This makes no sense.
good idea?
That's a good idea.
Joey, we're going to play Finish That Thought, but I know that we got our buddy Chris Jenkins. Man, you took a lot of time and stuck around a lot longer than I know that we held on to you, brother. So we're going to play Finish That Thought when you leave. But before we finish that thought, will you tell us where Panther fans can go to get that inside tip into the Charlotte life, sports focus, but everything? You guys do photo shoots, you do culture, you do events. Tell us where they can find you.
Absolutely. News and entertainment, sports included as well. You can find us on the web, charlottevibe.com, as well as all the social medias of Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram on Charlotte Vibe. And you know what? I'll be sure to invite you guys out for the next photo shoot. Maybe you guys can hold a light, hold an umbrella for me or something like that.
Exactly. When you do the top cast.
When I do the top cast. They had the tryouts last week.
I like the Hornets girls better than the Top Cats. I gotta believe that. Or what are the Hornets girls called again?
Honeybees.
The Honeybees. Man, I like them better than the Top Cats, and I know that's like cheating on the favorites, but well, look, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. We'd love to have you back. We always have a blast when you're here, and just remember, Cam Newton is the bomb.
I'll let him know. I'll see him Friday at his kid's fun school thing he's having here.
All right, man. Well, you have a great night, dude.
Thanks, Chris.
Take care, guys.
Joe, we're gonna jump in and play a little Finish That Thought before we've been pushing along. The show's getting out of our hands. We gotta move along. Joey, let's finish that thought. Carolina playing in Dallas on Thanksgiving is
great for the NFL because when you're as big as the NFL is, any publicity, whether good or bad, it is good publicity.
Excellent, excellent analysis, and I think that's right on. I didn't even think about this. I'm upset with myself for not thinking about this way. I'm going to say this. Carolina Panthers playing in Dallas on Thanksgiving is awesome for me because I'm on the road with kind of cooped up with a ton of family in Myrtle Beach. It's a family ordeal with Miranda's parents, my lovely, beautiful wife, where they have these condos, and they've been doing this for years before we knew each other, before we were married. My mother hates it because I don't spend Thanksgiving with her very often. But hey, Mom, we never did anything with my dad's parents either. The wife's parents always get the better deal. It's just the rule. It's the rules. But it's great for me because in the middle of the day on Thanksgiving, when we're full of turkey and all of this, I get to, either tell everybody to be quiet and leave me alone, or I'm getting bored with the cheering, or I get a pass to remove myself and watch the football game.
Exactly.
So you got two choices, family. You can either get on board with the football game and hush up unless it's cheering, or you can let me go.
Either way, you will be watching the game.
That's right. All right. Next, the Panthers starting the season in Jacksonville is.
It is a great way for us to get off to a good start. I'm not counting our chickens before they hatch, but talent, just looking at sheer talent, we are the more talented team. And if we happen to get on the trip with Roaring Riot, we're going to have quite a good time down there because it's so early in the year.
Well, I'm going to say the Panthers starting in Jacksonville is awesome for roaringriot.com. Although the trip has been sold out, I think. It might be sold out, Joey, or at least the cabana parts sold out for that one.
I think those are, yes.
I mean, they sold 300 spots, right, in a matter of a month. They sold like 50 in the first day. It was crazy. Right. And people didn't even know what week it was going to be.
I know. Wouldn't it have sucked if it was week 17?
Oh.
It would have sucked for them.
You're right. That even made my answer to this. This is awesome for Roaring Riot. That's going to be a riot, brother. That is going to be a riot. Talk about opening week on the road with the premium package setup from roaringriot.com.
Swimming pools.
Ladies.
Tailgating.
Free rides, accommodation. Well, free rides, sort of, but accommodations. Right? Okay. The whole point of this is there a better way to start the season off? I can't think of a better way, a more fun way. So I'm going to know one thing is that if we aren't there, we know that they're going to be having a riot. But I'm guessing that they're going to be feeling so good it doesn't matter if we win or lose.
Agreed.
All right, Joey, last finish that thought. Ending the season versus the Bucks is
good for our chances of if it comes down to it, it's good for us having a chance at repeating. Again, not counting our chickens before they hatch, but the Bucks were atrocious last year. I think they're going to be better, but I don't know if they're going to be quite to the level of the Carolina Panthers. So it's good for us.
I think that ending the season for the Bucks versus the Bucks is something that we, while you were gone, Joey, Comcasting it up, we were talking about this, is that while we got a tough stretch, how about this, is that I think ending the season versus the Bucks is fortuitous. That's my answer.
Definitely.
And what I believe is this: while we have a tough mid-season stretch, while we have an early bye, what we have from week 11 on are a lot of division opponents and a lot of NFC opponents, which gives us two opportunities. Number one, the division will be in our hands. Our fate will be up to us in a lot of ways, especially playing Atlanta twice in the last 4 weeks of the season.
Yes.
You know, I mean, if you think about that, if you sweep there and you beat the Bucks, I mean, you're on the way to winning the division in some ways, or at least you're maybe not on the way because you have to have the better record, but that's a good tiebreaker odds there. Mm-hmm. The other thing is that you're also playing a lot of NFC teams, and within that NFC team, there are some not so. You got the Skins, you got the Giants. There's some real opportunities there for you to position yourself, even if somehow you find yourself fighting for the division or fighting for a wild card. You've got some opportunities to make some tiebreaker moves there.
To gain some headway.
That's right.
Yes, you really do.
Instead of us last season where we backed in and we had to hope and pray for other people to lose, what we can do is just win.
Right. We hold our own fate in our own hands, and that you can't actually be in a better position than that. It's all up to you, basically.
Joe, we got the serious part of the show out of the way earlier. We got Joe Mincer coming on the podcast. I was supposed to have this interview up, Joey, but just time got away from me and the show. So I'm going to actually, in an effort to do due diligence to that segment, Joe Mincer from CarolinaPanthers.com, as well as Fox Sports and Bleacher Report, longtime Panther reporter. We are going to feature part of his interview next week, I think, Joey. I think that would be a more fair presentation. But so we got the fun part of the show. We got the serious part of the show out of the way. We got the fun show. We're in the middle of the fun part of the show, Joey. But what's more fun than buying stuff, drinking beer, and buying stuff on the internet?
I don't think there is much more, anything that's more fun than that. And you can do all that from CarolinaCatChronicles.com through the Amazon.com link. We have made it easy for you, Panther fans. Go to our site, you're reading our posts, listening to our interviews, listening to the podcast. While you're listening, go ahead and click on the Amazon tab at the top of the screen and do your shopping, whether it's for Christmas, birthdays, Mother's Day, which is quickly approaching, remember that, Father's Day, whatever you need. Amazon.com is a place to go get it. Go ahead and sign up for Prime so that way you can get free delivery. And is it 2-day delivery?
2-day.
2 days. Come on. 2 days. You can't ask for more than that. So check it out. Amazon.com through CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Just hit that tab. It says Amazon, and you will be there. No extra cost. Doesn't take anything but one click extra. That's it.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't go straight there. Go to our website, read about the Carolina Panthers, listen to these awesome shows like you're talking about. We're having a blast, and then buy some cool stuff. Doesn't cost anything to you, and you help some cats, some Panther fans that are working hard for free. Labor of love here. Maybe you can help us grow Panther Nation together. Joey, also, we've talked a lot about the season and some of these key matchups. I know I'm excited about going to some Panther games this year. We're going to go to the home opener. We're going to try to go to a road game. And I just got good news that I'm going to be going to the Redskins game with my buddy Clip Brock, who I'm on his show, The Sports Bar, every Friday, Pirate Radio 1250. We made an agreement that he's a Skins fan, I'm a Panthers fan, we're going to go to this game, but he has to call the ECU football games, and he cannot go to a Sunday game if they have a show, a post-game show after a Saturday game. Just so happens that the ECU Pirates are not playing on that Saturday.
Wow.
So fortune and fate has come together to allow me to go to a minimum of 2 games, maybe more. And, Joey, I can tell you one thing. I'm going to these games. I'm going to buy my tickets. I'm not going to pay a single fee.
Where are you going to buy them from?
I'm going to get cheap prices. I'm going to go to CarolinaCatChronicles.com. That's the first step. I'm going to go to that cool Panther website. Then I'm going to click on the Ticket Monster box. Right?
That's right.
Ticket Monster, that guy, that he's a scary monster that shreds and eats ticket fees and spits them out for free. He gives you cheap tickets, and I'm going to buy them from him. You're going to go through that link if you buy tickets. I know I am, and that's going to help you get your cheap tickets and help Panther fans and Panther Nation grow. On top of that, we'll be posting the schedule on the website. It'll be easy. You're going to look at the schedule. You're going to pick the game you want. You're going to click Buy Tickets. It's going to take you to a very reputable site that saves hundreds of dollars for people that buy multiple tickets like Aaron did. And you're going to go to the game and have a blast. And you're going to help the Carolina Panther fans grow and this website and this small business grow. Joey, right now, boy, that was a lot of... That was actually fun because I feel like I'm going to buy some stuff, and I might buy some tickets tonight. But
there you go.
Before that, I'm going to play Time.
Backdoor Fiction!
That's right. It's time for Fact or Fiction, where I pose a statement, and you and we decide if it is fact or fiction. Joe, the easiest first fact or fiction, the easiest schedule in the NFL belongs to the Dirty Birds. With the ease of their schedule, it gives them the inside track to win the division.
I say fiction, and I say that because of what we mentioned earlier about continuity, about not having a disruptive offseason. The best thing we did in the free agency period was sign our own players and keep our own players. Whereas Atlanta's bringing in a bunch of new players. They brought in a new coach, which is great for the organization in the long term. But short term, it's going to give us a leg up despite the ease of their schedule. We are the favorites. We are on the inside track for another division title.
I'm going to say fiction as well because I think that the Falcons' schedule outside the Bucs is not necessarily easy. I'm going to go with a different one, and it's going to seem strange at first. I'm going to say fiction because my pick of the easiest schedule goes to the Philadelphia Easies, where I think the NFL is trying to position them for a run in an effort to get Chip Kelly and the exciting offense of the Tebowing and this crazy trade to maybe get them into the playoffs. And here's why. They've got some tough games on their schedule. Yes, they've got the Cardinals, but I don't believe the Cardinals are as tough as people think. They've had some losses. They're getting older. They've got them late in the season. But look, they play the Redskins twice. They play the Giants twice. The Cowboys, probably the toughest team on their schedule. They play the Bills, easy.
Patriots.
The Dolphins, easy. The Patriots, yes. Patriots, tough game. Towards the end, their schedule is, you got the Lions and the Patriots. Here's the toughest teams they play, Joey. They play the Panthers. They play the Patriots. And they play the Cardinals. Oh, and the Cowboys.
And Cowboys.
They play the Cowboys twice. But look, they got to play the Cowboys every year. So you can't twice. You can't get around that. So when we determine easy schedule, I think some of it has to be what's outside of it. They got to play the NFC South, obviously, because they're playing the Bucs, they're playing the Falcons, they're playing the Panthers, and they're playing the Saints. No choice about that. That's the way the schedule unfolded. But here's what you got that is helping them, the Jets and the Bills. Well, they also got to play the AFC North, right? Is that what it is? East. Maybe also it's not that they were given an easy schedule, but I'm calling them the Philadelphia Easies this year, and that's what I got. Joe, before we jump into the next fact or fiction, how about this? One thing I was noting since you wrote the fact or fiction this week, and I was looking over them before the show, what do you think the hardest schedule is? Did you get a chance to peek around? Because one thing I want to show you right here is a look at the Seattle Seahawks schedule. And it is brutal. They play the Rams, the Packers, the Bears, the Lions, the Bengals, the Panthers, the 49ers, the Cowboys. That's the first 8 weeks.
Wow. I'd say the Bears are the easiest there.
Right. Then, here, check out, they have a bye week in week 9. Here's 10 through 17. The Cardinals, the 49ers, the Steelers, the Vikings, the Ravens, the Browns, the Rams, and the Cardinals.
Well, they got a little break there with the Browns.
Gosh.
But
and maybe a little break with the Vikings and the 49ers. 49ers a division game. That schedule is
brutal.
Nauseating.
I think they do have the actually.
Uh-oh. We have lost that freaking Puerto Rican, and it's time for Tony to continue the show with On His Own. We get to see his complete and total ability to run a show by himself. First time ever, folks. I'm glad you're still with me. We're going to continue Fact or Fiction in hopes of the freaking Puerto Rican getting back. Here's the number one fact or fiction that I'm going to go with. Fact or fiction. You can tweet the show right now and let me know, do you think it will be fact or fiction if that freaking Puerto Rican gets back into the show? Looks like we are having problems on Twitter as it is. Some other people are calling about the show freezing up. But fact or fiction, will Joe make it back into the show before it's over? I hope it's not me that is causing these problems, because somebody can tweet me right now, is it me that is causing these problems? We've got viewers dropping off right away, so I'm guessing it is. But here's what I'm going to say. It is fiction that Joe will not make it back in before the end of the show because my man is back. That's right. That's what people do when the problems and the possession and tough time gets tough, is what you get.
Tony, are you there?
I'm here. And what
You're
you
there,
get.
Tony?
Yes.
All right. I'm having technical difficulties with my Wi-Fi
It's okay, Joe.
at home, but I am on the phone.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're back. I just won that fact or fiction. I said it was fiction that Joe would. I said Joe would not make it back before the end of the show. That is fiction. He's come back. He's on his phone. It said it's been freezing up. There's a little issues of on the internet, it looks like. Oh, gosh, Susan said that is fiction. He will not. So I guess the show will go on because it must be working. All right, Joe, we're going to skip over and speed this up. It's 11:03. We'll do one more fact or fiction, and then we'll do our ice up picks and get on out of here, all right? Carolina plays Atlanta 2 times in the last 4 weeks of the season. Those 2 games will determine the NFC South title. Fact or fiction?
I think I'm going to go with fact because of the proximity of the games and them being division games, not because Atlanta has a chance at the division.
I agree.
Go ahead.
I think it's fact for this very reason. I think the only strange part about there's 2 strange parts about this is we don't play these guys a little bit earlier in the season. I think it's a little strange we don't get a taste of Atlanta until so late. We talked about this while you were gone earlier in the show. But yes, how can it not decide the division? We got all these division games at the end. Atlanta back to back. They might be the toughest team with the most talent on their roster in the league. I think that it is a fact. It does determine the NFC South.
I agree.
All right, Joey. It's time for the ice up picks of the week. It's been a good show. I'm gonna give ourselves a round of applause for that. It's been a show that we've worked through some technical difficulties. We've made it through. Joe, it's time for the ice up picks of the week. So I'm not even gonna play the cubes dropping. Ice. Think of them dropping. It's time to deliver those picks. You got an ice up pick for me.
I do. And it goes to the NFL. The NFL is it's a machine, man. It's a monster. And they have sometimes they have total disregard for people who the little guy who come from the smaller markets, and that's how I feel we're being treated. Last year we had a brutal run. We had a very tough run of some you there?
I'm here. You're
Okay,
bouncing in and out. You got double connection. You can hang up your phone. You're back on the computer. We've got 2 Joeys. We've got that freaking Puerto Rican and that Rican.
All right. Well, you're gonna have to deal with 2 of me, I guess.
No, you got to cut your phone off because now it's echoing.
Bear with me a second.
Bearing. Guys, thank you, fans, for sticking with us through this. I know that we've had some problems tonight with connectivity. But I got to tell you, we appreciate every viewer, every listener, every reader. CarolinaCatChronicles.com. It's a place where it's grassroots built. It's fans. We just having fun. So we're glad you're having a good time. Joe, tell us why the NFL is on your radar.
NFL's on my radar because they forget about the little man. You know, we've worked hard. We've done a lot of good things as an organization. We've come from having the first-round draft pick to winning the NFC South 2 years in a row. First time it's ever been done since the creation of the NFC South. Anyway, my problem is the brutality of the middle portion of our schedule at Seattle, home versus Eagles, Packers, and Colts. That's a rough stretch of 4 games, man. You know, every game is so important in the NFL. And to put us playing those teams back to back to back to back, after the way they did us last year, very similar sort of way, is tough. I think they could have given us a bye, maybe in the middle of that.
I agree. The bye, just break it up. You can give us the stretch.
Right. It's not a problem playing those 4 games. Just give us a break. You know, that's where the issue is. The schedule, I don't think they factored that in. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So I believe we will go 3-1 at least in that 4-game stretch. So I say to the NFL, look, give a team a break, middle of the year when they have such a rough portion of their schedule. A bye week would have been great. So ice up, NFL.
That's right. Ice up, son. Joe, I've got an interesting ice up pick of the week. This ice up pick of the week goes to Leah from Leah, who was on Divorce Court. All right? I don't know if you're familiar with the show Divorce Court, but it's a show I don't watch necessarily. I hope I'm never there because that means that I'm broker than I already am. Right? I firmly believe, though, that my second wife will be mail-ordered, number 1. But this is why I'm going with Leah. And I just want you to listen to this little clip. Leah from Divorce Court is going to get the ice up. And I'm going to tell you why. That is not why, because that would be our music. Holy moly. It's that time where we are, good Lord. Gosh, I forgot I renamed the dang file. This is one.
He accused me. This sounds,
Mr. Sellers, no.
Okay.
This sounds ridiculous, but he accused me of sleeping with the entire Wu-Tang Clan.
She did.
Do you even know the Wu-Tang Clan?
She went backstage.
I did.
Oh, so you did know them?
Well, yes. I had an amazing night one night and a really good opportunity.
It was amazing already.
Hey, Mr. Sellers.
It was amazing.
How amazing was it?
It was.
She gave Wu some things.
I did not know.
Mr. Sellers, you're going to
Nothing inappropriate happened. And let me just, put on the record that the Wu-Tang is nothing but gentlemen. They treated me highly respectful. I would never cheat on him. But also, I don't know if this is appropriate to say, but I would never be like a bust down or a groupie in that type of situation. It just so
bust
happened.
Down. That's a new one. I don't know bust down. I
Yeah.
know what a groupie is.
Okay.
Bust
So
down.
I kept my lady points together. Okay. But basically, what happened is, I met Wu-Tang. I got on their tour bus. I went back to the hotel, and I was just hanging out all night, and it was amazing. And I mean, we were not doing anything but talking.
Were you with Mr. Sellers? Were you dating Mr. Sellers?
I was dating him.
Hey.
Yes, I was dating him at the time, and he was living at my house. And now I lost track of time, and I didn't really look at the time. And all of a sudden, I look at my clock, and I'm 7 in the morning, and I was like, I got to get out of here. And so I jumped in a taxi, and I went home immediately. And as soon as I was at home, I get approached by Nate, and he starts accusing me of sleeping with them all. And
but you stayed out all night, got on a tour bus with a band or a group. I mean, that's bust down behavior, is it not?
It might be, but it's also...
That's Leah from the Divorce Court, and she's getting my ice up pick of the week because she didn't own up to the thing that we all know. You are a bust down girl, baby. You are. And I'm going to get out of this show by going, Poo-Tang, Wu-Tang! Wu-Tang! It's C3 Podcast, and that's my Ice Up Pick of the Week, son. Leah from Divorce Court, you're a bust-down girl. Guys, girls, man, I've had a blast. Joey, how can they hit you up, and where can they find the hot Panther news?
You can find me on Twitter at Joe Riolano. I'm keeping it real. You can find all your Carolina Panther news from the fan perspective at CarolinaCatChronicles.com. And check it out. We are fans, and we do this for fans.
Word up. CarolinaCatChronicles.com, the C3 Podcast, every Tuesday night, 10 p.m., where we be keeping it real, even with our boys, Wu-Tang, and you knew they blew it up. That's the C3 Podcast, folks. I've had a blast. I'll see you at them Panther games. Roy and Riot, thank you. See you next week, bro.
Good night.